Sometimes love feels less like a choice and more like a haunting. It lives under your skin, in the quiet between breaths, in the songs that find you when you least expect them. You tell yourself it's destiny, that the universe wouldn't make you feel something this powerful just to take it away. But somewhere buried beneath the ache is a trembling question you've never dared to ask. What if this isn't love at all? What if it's something else wearing love's familiar face? I once believed that the heart could not lie, that if you felt something so consuming, it must mean something divine. But love, or what we call love, has a way of disguising itself. It slips between the cracks of memory, blending with longing, loneliness, and the faint echo of old pain. We call it chemistry, fate, twin flame, anything but what it really is, the soul's attempt to heal through repetition. You think you are drawn to a person, but in truth, you are drawn to a mirror. Carl Jung once wrote that we don't truly fall in love with others. We fall in love with our own hidden parts reflected in them. The things we see, the things we crave, even the things that hurt us, they are fragments of ourselves returning for integration. This truth is both liberating and devastating. Because when you realize it, the fairy tales begin to fade. That person you called your destiny might not be the missing half of your soul, but the embodiment of your unhealed wounds. And yet it's so hard to accept, because the feeling is real. The obsession, the sleepless nights, the flutter of hope when they text back, the pit in your stomach when they don't, all of it is alive inside you. How could it not mean something? You replay every moment, the way they smiled, the way their voice softened when they said your name, the coincidences that felt like signs from above. Maybe you saw their birthday on every clock. Maybe a song followed you wherever you went. The mind searches for confirmation, desperate to believe that this is fate, not fantasy. But what if fate sometimes speaks through heartbreak? What if the universe brings someone into your life not to complete you, but to confront you with what still aches inside, the way you crave their approval? Doesn't it feel familiar? The way you chase their love, hasn't it echoed through your life before, in childhood? Perhaps when love was conditional, fleeting, or out of reach. Jung said that the things that irritate, trigger, or devastate us about others are not accidents. They are invitations. Every wound reopened by love is a doorway back to the self. So maybe the question isn't, why do I love this person so much? Maybe it's what part of me is trying to come home through them. Because every time your heart breaks open, something buried tries to rise. That's why it hurts so deeply. Not because you've lost them, but because you are being asked to meet yourself at a depth you've never dared to go before. And if you listen closely, beneath the noise of longing, beneath the desperate hope that they might return, there is another voice, quiet but steady, whispering, "This isn't punishment. It's revelation. You are not being abandoned. You are being awakened." There is a strange silence that follows the realization that the person you thought was your destiny might in truth be your mirror. It's not an immediate calm, it's a hollow quiet, like the stillness after a storm when the trees are still dripping and the air smells of lightning. You look around and realize the battlefield wasn't between you and them. It was inside you all along. We spend so much of our lives searching for belonging in another's eyes. The moment we feel that spark, that unexplainable pull, we convince ourselves it must be something cosmic. We call it fate because it feels too intense to be ordinary. But Jung warned us, intensity is not always truth. Sometimes it's the echo of trauma disguised as passion. The heart races not from love, but from recognition of familiarity with pain. Think back to every moment you've been consumed by someone. The anxious waiting, the fear of being forgotten, the constant wondering if you're enough. These feelings feel romantic only because we've been taught that love must hurt to be real. But the truth is quieter, almost anticlimactic. Real love does not create chaos inside you. It creates space. It does not demand that you prove your worth. It reminds you that you already have it. And yet there's a strange addiction to the kind of love that hurts. It's intoxicating. It makes you feel alive in a way peace never could. You tell yourself it's destiny, but what you're really feeling is the rush of being back inside an old story, one you know too well. Maybe you grew up chasing affection that was inconsistent. Maybe love was always earned, never given freely. So now every time someone withholds warmth, your body interprets it as a challenge, a chance to finally win the love you were once denied. That's the cruel trick of unresolved pain. It doesn't disappear. It disguises itself as attraction. You feel drawn to the very people who embody what once hurt you most, and the universe, in its strange mercy, allows it not to punish you, but to reveal where you still need healing. Jung called this the process of individuation, the lifelong task of becoming whole. And relationships, especially the ones that break us open, are the mirrors through which this transformation unfolds. You might be thinking, if love is just projection, then what is real? But it's not that simple. Projection is not a lie. It's an unconscious message. The qualities you admire in another, their courage, kindness, mystery. They are also within you, waiting to be claimed. Likewise, the traits you cannot stand, the distance, the unpredictability, they too are reflections of something inside, something you have not yet made peace with. So when you feel that magnetic pull toward someone, pause before you call it destiny. Ask yourself, what are they showing me about myself? Because every person who enters your life carries a lesson, a key, a mirror. Some stay to walk beside you. Others appear only to hand you the reflection you most need to see and then disappear. Love then becomes less about possession and more about revelation. It's not about finding the one who completes you, but recognizing the parts of you that no longer need completing. There comes a moment, usually after the ache has softened and the tears have dried into something quieter, when you begin to see it differently. The story you once clung to, the grand tale of soulmates, cosmic timing, and eternal connection, begins to dissolve at the edges. What remains is something rawer, simpler, and far more sacred, the understanding that every love, no matter how brief or painful, was a messenger of your becoming. You start to notice the patterns, how every time you thought you couldn't survive the loss of someone, you did, how the world didn't end when they stopped calling, how piece by piece you began to rebuild yourself stronger, softer, wiser. Jung said that the meeting of two souls is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Perhaps that was their purpose, not to stay, but to ignite a transformation inside you that could not have happened any other way. And this is where love reveals its paradox. The people who wound us most deeply are often the ones who awaken us most profoundly. Their departure carves space within us for something larger, not another person, but a truer version of ourselves. That emptiness you once feared becomes the very soil where your self-understanding grows. You stop searching for someone to complete you and begin learning how to stand whole within your own being. This is the essence of Jung's teaching, that love is not meant to rescue you from loneliness, but to guide you toward the realization that you were never incomplete. The one you thought was your destiny was in fact your initiation. They came to pull you into a deeper conversation with your own soul. Their love, or the illusion of it, forced you to confront the parts of yourself you abandoned long ago. There's a quiet power in this kind of awareness. You start to see that not all synchronicities mean permanence. Some are doorways, not destinations. The universe sends certain people to you precisely when you are ready to see something essential, a wound, a truth, a strength. And once that message is received, the connection often dissolves. We call it heartbreak. But in truth, it is evolution. Still, that doesn't make it easy. Letting go of someone who once felt like your oxygen feels like dying. But what if what's dying isn't love but attachment, the illusion that you needed them to feel whole? When that illusion shatters, you begin to breathe differently. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're enough. You stop mistaking chaos for passion. You start choosing peace even when peace feels unfamiliar. True fateful love, the kind Jung hinted at, is not fireworks or sleepless nights. It's a calm recognition. It's the quiet knowing that you can be entirely yourself with another person and still be loved. It does not demand that you shrink to fit inside their comfort, nor does it require you to sacrifice your truth to earn their affection. It's not about finding your missing half. It's about meeting someone as whole as you are and deciding consciously to grow together. The greatest irony is that you only encounter that kind of love once you no longer need it to save you. Only when you stop searching for your destiny in another do you finally become ready to meet it face to face. There is a tenderness that arrives after awakening, a softness that doesn't come from naivety, but from understanding. You begin to see that every story of love, even the ones that ended in silence, has a sacred purpose. The universe does not make mistakes in who it sends to cross your path. Each encounter, each heartbreak, each inexplicable pull has carried you a little closer to yourself. And yet we resist. We cling to what once was trying to resurrect what has already served its purpose. We replay memories hoping they might return us to the moment before the loss. But Jung reminds us that what we resist persists. The soul cannot evolve while clinging to its past disguises. To truly grow, we must honor what was and release it, not in bitterness, but in gratitude. Because even the love that broke you was love that taught you. There's an image I often return to: a person standing at their front door, clutching an old photograph while their true partner, the one meant for this next chapter, is knocking outside. But they cannot hear it because they are lost in yesterday's echo. We all do this in some form. We hold on to illusions believing they will protect us from emptiness. But in doing so, we block the arrival of what is real, true love. The kind that feels like coming home after a long journey does not arrive while you are still entangled with ghosts. It finds you when you've made peace with solitude, when you can look at your reflection and say, I am enough even if no one chooses me today. That moment, that quiet self-recognition, changes everything. Because from there, love ceases to be a search and becomes a resonance. You stop chasing and start attracting. You no longer reach for completion. You radiate wholeness. Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." We spend so much of life looking outward, searching for signs, reading meanings into coincidences, waiting for someone to choose us so that we can finally believe we are worthy. But the awakening begins when you realize that the love you crave from another must first come from within. The external relationships only mirror the inner one. When you treat yourself with gentleness, when you honor your own boundaries, When you learn to sit with your own silence without fear, that is when the universe begins to send you people who match your frequency, and you will know it instantly. Because real connection feels like peace, not panic. It feels like recognition, not performance. It does not trigger your deepest fears, but invites you to rest. You don't have to decode their words or earn their affection. You simply exist in the quiet certainty that this is right. It is not the dizzying high of being seen for the first time, but the grounded joy of being seen as you are. But here's the truth that most resist until the end. To receive that kind of love, you must first become it. You must be the sanctuary you seek. You must learn to hold your own heart with the same reverence you once gave to another. Because the person who is truly meant for you will not arrive to fix what is broken. They will arrive to celebrate what is whole. They will not come to quiet your storms, but to walk beside you through them. Love does not save you from yourself. It reveals you to yourself fully, unapologetically, divinely. And then almost imperceptibly, everything shifts. You wake one morning and realize that the ache has softened into gratitude. The name that once burned on your tongue no longer stings. The memories still visit you sometimes, but they arrive like gentle rain instead of thunder. You can look back without trembling. You can remember without wanting to return. This is what healing quietly looks like, not forgetting, but integrating. Because love was never meant to be a possession. It was always meant to be a revelation. Every soul that crossed your path carried a fragment of light meant for your evolution. Some stayed to build with you, while others came only to spark the fire that would guide you home. You begin to understand that destiny is not a single person. Destiny is the unfolding of your consciousness through every encounter that shapes it. Jung believed that the soul orchestrates our relationships with almost divine precision. The ones who wound us show us where we are still raw. The ones who love us gently show us how to receive. And the rare few who meet us with both shadow and grace are the catalysts of our transformation. They are not coincidences. They are mirrors sent by the deeper self, asking us to awaken. And awakening is never painless. It tears away the dream so that you can finally see the truth. It demands that you stop mistaking the familiar for the fated, that you stop running toward the same pattern hoping it will end differently. Because real love, the kind that expands you instead of consumes you, cannot enter the space where fear still governs your choices. You must let go. Not because it's easy, but because it's sacred. You learn to sit in solitude not as punishment, but as practice. You start to see your own reflection as something holy. You understand that the search for the one was never about another person, but about the return to yourself. That realization is both humbling and freeing. For the first time, you stop asking, "When will love find me?" and instead whisper, "I am love finding myself." And then, as if by quiet design, life begins to shift around you. You start meeting people who feel different, grounded, kind, calm. There is no anxiety in their presence, only ease. You laugh without calculation. You listen without fear. And when you look into their eyes, you no longer see a mirror for your wounds, but a reflection of your peace. That is when you understand what Jung meant when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." True fateful love doesn't arrive with fireworks or obsession. It arrives like recognition. It's the calm after years of inner storms, the stillness after decades of searching. It's the love that doesn't demand that you lose yourself. It invites you to meet yourself more deeply through another. And when it comes, it won't feel like falling. It will feel like remembering, like something that was always meant to be waiting patiently until you became ready to receive it. If you've listened this far, perhaps something inside you is stirring a knowing that what you once called heartbreak was really initiation. That love has never left you. It has simply been evolving within you, waiting for the moment you could finally hold it with awareness. If these words have touched you, I invite you to pause, to breathe, to feel, to reflect. And if your soul resonates with this journey, let it be known. Like this video to send your energy into the world. Share it with someone who still believes their pain is punishment. Subscribe for more reflections like this, for stories that heal, not just tell. And in the comments, write one word: awakened. Because maybe in this vast constellation of souls, that single word will be your way of saying, I have seen myself, and I am ready for love that frees, not binds.